The Romantic Period, Video 2. This video continues in Part 1, Romanticism in Music, but it starts with the characteristics of romantic music. Individuality of style. Romantic music put unpredicted emphasis on self-expression and individuality of style. Many romantics created music that sounds unique and reflects their personalities. Expressive aims and subjects. The Romantics explored a universe of feeling that included flamboyance and intimacy, predictability and melancholy, rapture and longing. Countless songs and operas glorify romantic love. Often, the lovers are unhappy and face overwhelming obstacles. Nationalism. Nationalism was an important political movement that influenced 19th century music. Musical nationalism was expressed when romantic composers deliberately created music with a specific national identity, including the folk songs, dances, legends, and history of their homelands. This national flavor of romantic music, whether it be Polish, Russian, Bohemian, which is Czech, or German, contrasts with the more universal character of the classical music. Program music. The 19th century was the great age of program music. Instrumental music associated with a story, a poem, an idea, or just a scene. The non-musical elements is usually specified by a title or by explanatory comments within the program. A programmatic instrumental piece can represent the emotions, characters, and events of a particular story and can evoke the sounds and motion of nature. So what this really means is that they were writing it, maybe they had a poem in mind or something like that, but they wrote music and there's no words involved in it. It's not like they're singing. So program music was music that was supposed to evoke feelings of certain things. And we'll cover that later on in this chapter. Expressive tone control. Romantic composers revealed enriched and sensuous sound using tone color to obtain a variety of moods and atmospheres. Never before had timbre been so important. In both symphonic and operatic works, the Romantic orchestra was larger and more varied in tone color than the classical orchestra. Toward the end of the Romantic era, the orchestra might include close to 100 musicians. And just to make a comparison, there were 20 to maybe 50 or 60 players in the classical ensemble. Colorful harmony. In addition to exploiting new tone colors and timbres, remember tone color is also another word for that is timbres. The Romantics explored new chords and novel ways of using familiar chords. Seeking greater emotional intensity, composers emphasized rich, colorful, and complex harmonies. There was more prominent exploitation of chromatic harmony, which uses chords containing tones not found in the prevailing major and minor scales. Such chord tones come out of the chromatic scale, which has 12 tones rather than the major and minor scale that we know of, which only has 7 tones. Expanded range of dynamics, pitch, and tempo. Romantic music also called for a wide range of dynamics. It used sharp contrasts between faint whispers and sonorities of unprecedented power. The classical dynamic extremes didn't meet the needs of the Romantics, who sometimes demanded much softer and much louder dynamics. Seeking more and more expressiveness, 19th century composers used frequent crescendos and decrescendos as well as sudden dynamic changes. And finally, form. Miniature and monumental. The 19th century was very much the age of contradictions. Romantic composers characteristically expressed themselves both in musical miniatures and in monumental compositions. On one hand, are piano pieces of Chopin and songs of Schubert that last only just a few minutes. Such short forms were meant to be heard in the intimate settings of a home, and they met the needs of the growing number of people who owned pianos. On the other hand, there were gigantic works of Berlioz and Wagner that call for a huge number of performers, and they last for several hours and were designed for large opera houses or concert halls.